Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful Overbooked, and it's time for your weekly dose of hits and misses. I'm here with Drew, as I am every single week. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing really well this week. How you doing, Joel?
Can't complain. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We have had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day slam. We have so much going on in the world of wrestling. Hits, misses. We got to get to it. We need those people to know what the hell to watch from this past week. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
Let's do it. Number 5. Hit me.
All right. So number 5 was a kid versus Kushida on NXT. I hadn't seen a kid wrestle before, which is just so incredibly weird to say. I haven't gotten used to that name.
I think it's just, isn't it just a kid, not a
Or
kid?
a kid. I mean,
Nobody should
yeah.
wrestle a child.
No. But he really is great, and I enjoyed that match on Tuesday. I would like to go back and maybe even see some of his NXT UK stuff. So I really think that everyone should go out of their way to watch it.
Good stuff. My number 5 is from Monday Night Raw, The Revenge of Becky Lynch. Becky coming out, taking out Bianca Belair, getting her revenge on Bianca after that whole house show incident. You'll hear all about it when you watch the program. But they did Bianca versus Doudrop for like the umpteenth time. Good match, but it was all about the revenge from Becky that really got me in and got me more excited for their match at WrestleMania. Give me your number 4.
Number 4, the Keith Lee versus Max Caster match from Rampage. Now, everything really, like if you can see before the match and after, I thought everything was great. Like the Acclaim promo was funny. Max's rap I thought was really on point this week. And then Keith Lee just tossing Max around like Max was half of his size. Just extremely well done. And then Swerve coming down to save Keith Lee from the 4-on-1 beatdown. Just excellent match. Great all around. Go and see that too.
There we go. My number 4 was from SmackDown, Pat McAfee's apology. Now I know some people aren't going to love Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory at WrestleMania, but you cannot deny that the build so far has been entertaining, and a lot of it is because Pat McAfee is a good promo. Pat McAfee is an entertaining promo, and if nothing else, I think a lot of people who haven't seen Pat wrestle before, and you do exist, I know you do, you're going to see that Pat McAfee is actually a pretty good wrestler. So I enjoyed that segment from SmackDown. Hit me, number 3.
Number 3, Naomi and Sasha versus Liv and Rhea on SmackDown. This match ruled so much, and the crowd just really was into this match. The crowd was hype for SmackDown yesterday. It was a really great watch, and this match was really one of the highlights of the show. They're definitely my pick, Naomi and Sasha. I'm hoping that they win the tag titles. We'll see what happens. They like doing, Sasha heel turn stuff a lot, but we'll see. But that match was really great. Even though we didn't get a finish, technically, they like doing that stuff too. But it was really great.
There we go. My number 3, going back to NXT, was Santos Escobar versus Cameron Grimes, trying to get a spot in the North American Championship ladder match at the next NXT show. That's Stand and Deliver. That's the show. That's going to be a really good event. I'm going to look forward to the ladder match, but go out of your way, catch that NXT 2.0 match between Escobar and Grimes. I quite enjoyed it myself. Go ahead, number 2.
So my number 2 this week is similar to my number 2 and my number 1 from last week because the show overall was so great, and I'm picking out little tiny things that you need to definitely go and see. So my number 2 is Dynamite, and here's why. You need to see Yuta because Regal slapped the taste out of his mouth, and it was like, ooh. I'm ready for Yuta to be a part of Danielson and Moxley. I need it. So Yuta stepped to them. He kind of wanted to join, but Rico said, "Nah, not yet." Bam! Slaps him across the face. It was really exciting. You got to see that. You got to see Private Party versus the Hardy Boys as well, because Private Party have always wanted to do this match, and it's so special for to be able to be in the ring with their idols. They were having the time of their lives, bumping their butts off for the Hardy Boys, and it made for a great match. So go watch that. And number one of number two, I did that last week.
Yes, you did.
Thunder Rosa winning the women's title was a long time coming, well deserved. Wasn't a huge fan of the way that we got here, but I understood it was in her hometown. It had to be this. Please go and watch that stuff.
Wonderful. My number two, going back to SmackDown, it is Brock and Roman's CARCAPADES. I had a hell of a blast watching those two brawl outside of the arena into the back, and then Brock coming out afterwards with a card door. A nice little callback to Once Upon a Time, him and Seth Rollins and their feud with the J&J security car. It was nice. It was fun. It gets me amped. Yeah, there you go. It gets you amped for WrestleMania. So I'm now looking a little bit more forward tonight too in that main event than I was before. Go ahead, number one. Give it to me.
Number one for me was Brock Lesnar's Carnage on SmackDown. So it's perfect. It's perfect. We're leading right into it because there is not like a lot that entertains me on Raw or SmackDown these days, but Brock does it for me 100% because this is legitimately Brock on another level. This is the greatest Brock I have ever seen, and they did that old Stone Cold style backstage stuff, reminiscent of like the cement truck. And man, it was so exciting. So exciting that I am gonna be at SmackDown in Brooklyn next week because I enjoyed that whole bit and most of the show. So I'm gonna be really excited to see that, and I couldn't not make that my number one this week. It was so great.
They literally sold you a ticket.
It did. It literally did.
My number one, and for people who know me, they're going to be shocked as all hell. Jericho Appreciation
Wow.
Jericho Appreciation Society.
You've become a jazz hole.
No, I am not a jazz hole. Instead, what I appreciate is the nuance of Jericho, the sports entertainer, bringing sports entertainment into AEW in the most obnoxious of way, making it a whole storyline for anyone who's a quote unquote pro wrestling fan. We're all pro wrestling fans. Just telling it the WWE way, which some AEW fans are not fans of in the beginning. So I loved the promo. It did everything to get the right kind of heat. I'm excited now. I enjoy this version of Jericho because it's authentically obnoxious. So give me more of that, Chris Jericho 2.0. That should have been someone's miss, but it's not this week. So instead, how about you hit me with your number 5 miss?
My number 5, and you might be a little surprised about this if you know me, but it involves one of my favorite people in AEW. It's QT Marshall continuing the stuff with Hook because I've enjoyed every Hook match because it's Hook and I love Hook. But my fear about when this started is unfortunately coming to fruition because a QT feud doesn't end for months and it's got to stop. Like, he won at the last pay-per-view. Cook won, so this should be over. We don't need any other stuff, and now they're going to continue it. And no, please, no.
My number 5 goes back to SmackDown. Natty and Shayna Baszler getting their way into WrestleMania. I didn't like how we got here. Them getting involved in a match that you had hit, you made it one of your hits.
Yeah.
Them getting involved in causing a no contest finish just to then be rewarded a match at WrestleMania into that now fatal 4-way for the women's tag titles shows how badly the women's tag division is. And it also shows that they had absolutely no plans as to how these teams were going to enter literally from the get-go. So I don't like how we're getting there, but here we are. Give me your number 4.
Okay, number 4 is also really surprised because this has always been on my hits but this week I didn't like it at all, what they did. And it was unfortunately Seth and KO on Raw. I've been a big fan of these two together, and then all of a sudden they decide to do this weird ass booking on Raw where they're playing up, someone's coming, and we kind of already know who that person is. And they have to do this like dissension between the two best friends because he's got to get a match on. He's got to get a talk show with Stone Cold. He's got to get his talk show with Stone Cold. So like the main event of the show, which was made an hour and a half prior of the main event of the show, is Seth versus KO for the talk show with Stone Cold at WrestleMania. Was just, I didn't like that at all. So I'm glad KO won. We pretty much know what's going to happen with Seth. So I wasn't a fan of that.
I'm joining you with number 4. It's the same thing. I don't know why Seth wants to talk show with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He has no problem with Stone Cold Steve Austin. The problem is Kevin Owens and Steve Austin. I understand that maybe Seth is like, I'm scrambling and this is my opportunity to start something with Stone Cold Steve Austin. But no, it made absolutely no sense to me. I didn't need it in my life. Give me your number 3, please, and thank you.
I love when we're in sync like that.
Once in a while we get it.
So number 3 for me, for my misses, unfortunately, we go back to NXT 2.0, and I love all the 4 people involved.
I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going. The makeout contest, we'll call it.
Get your sensors ready, by the way. I have called it the that is my number 2, but we'll get to that in a second. Go ahead. This is your number 3.
Yeah, because what the hell is this bullshit? The match before was fine, like it was a decent match, and then the men came out, and then it led to a distraction, and Indy wins, and then they all just start making out because they have to one up each other. So, excuse me,
that's
I'm doing
the horny
show
police.
Here.
That's the horny police. They're coming for Indy and Persia and Duke.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'll start talking nicely about it next week, I promise. It's terrible. So we just got to stop, stand and deliver, and then we move on, please.
Yeah, and I hope they stand and deliver in a match and not in the other way. My number 3 going to Rampage, and it's a little bit of Dynamite as well. It's the Chris Statlander reveal. On Wednesday, I was very excited to watch Chris Statlander take the makeup, the space makeup off her face and take out the contact. And I was like, okay, maybe we're going to do something more quote unquote serious with Chris Statlander. Less alien, more I'm a real girl who wrestles now, which, some people have been wanting that. I like Chris Statlander and I want to see her wrestle that way. And then the reveal on Rampage was that she just now wears all black and now has a blue streak in her hair. I'm willing to let this play out, as they say, because the storytelling is available, but I did not like that the big reveal was that now she wears all black. I don't care for that. So yeah, Chris Statlander. Looking forward to maybe better things. Go ahead, number 2.
All right, number 2. I touched on this earlier. Sonya Deville being told to say some women deserve the beatdown at the hands of Natalya and Shayna. We all know that Naomi is not doing a racist gimmick right now, but they're not helping at all when they do stuff like this. They're not helping at all, because why in the hell would you have her say that?
Yeah, doesn't work for me either.
So please stop. Please stop.
My number 2, you all know what it was. We just talked about it. Indy and Persia and Duke and oh my God, I'm forgetting his name right now. Who's Indy married to?
Dexter.
It's the D's, the double D's, Duke and Dexter. Anyway, I just get it over with. I don't want it. Let's go. Give me your number 1. Let's go.
Number 1 is something that I finally get to close the book on, and I'm so happy about it. Let me ask you a question, Joel. What has Edge become now that he's betrayed everyone he's ever loved and pushed them all away?
Oh God, Judas in his mind.
He's become skippable.
Oh, okay, that's much worse.
I don't care about any of this at all anymore, and I'm sad because I really like Edge. I really do. I love him, and I'm so happy when he came back and everything that he's done. But this out of nowhere heel turn for no reason now made this one of the least anticipated matches at WrestleMania for me. This new song, okay, it's fine. The blue light, fine. But this classic, you people are the reason why this is happening. Come on, we're better than this. This is just lazy stuff. This is lazy, just to get one person booed and one person cheered. No. So I'm happy to say I've finally closed the book on this, and I don't care, and I won't be paying attention to it anymore.
My number one. This is going to shock some people because people are going to think this is a cop out, but it's not. So hear me out. From WWE main event, Veer Mahan took on Gary Heck. Now, people are going to say, oh, it's just a squash match for Veer Mahan. No. I want you to go. I don't want you to do this because, again, this is a miss. I'm going to tell you now, every single Veer Mahan match on main event has played out exactly the same way. And when you take that and you add the fact that they've been running these Veer Mahan segments on Raw, these teasers for the last God knows how many months, I'm not looking forward to Veer Mahan. And that's me because I'm watching everything. Every other person who's watching wrestling probably going to be fine with it. But for me, I'm sitting there being like, he's going to do the same 4 moves and he's going to dominate one jobber. And that's how he's going to start his reign of terror. Please make Veer more than a one-trick pony. We have enough one-trick ponies right now. Veer Mahan versus Gary Heck is entirely missable from WWE main event. I mean, I'd argue most of main event is.
I mean, I've never watched one Veer Mahan match ever. So, yeah, and I have no idea who Gary Heck is. So,
just a guy. Just a guy. Yeah. You know what? Let's do it. We missed it last week. Hey, Drew, who's your favorite wrestler?
This week, my favorite wrestler is Thunder Rosa.
Mine, it's got to be Scott Hall. I got to get Scott Hall, who unfortunately passed away earlier this week on Monday. He very tragic death, but also one hell of a career. I don't need to go into more than what everyone has been saying. Just this week, if you have time, go and watch your favorite Scott Hall match, your favorite Razor Ramon match, whatever it is. Go out and watch it. And until then, Drew, where can people find you on the internet?
Before we end that, you made me feel really bad that I didn't say Scott Hall now.
No, but that's the thing. It's entirely subjective. And if we agree on everything, then it's boring as hell.
Tim, could you please put Scott Hall right next to Thunder Rosa for me, please? Because I also would like to agree with Joel here and say Scott Hall is also my favorite. So, but Thunder Rosa and Scott Hall, because
works for me.
So you can find me on Twitter at Big Money Drew, and if you're going to the Barclays Center next week, I will be there as well. I'll probably be wearing this shirt too, so you can look for the white head at the table shirt.
The white head at the table. You want to lead with that? I'm at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. It's youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. We do hits and misses every week, and we drop content every single day. So you know what? We'll see you in the next video. Cheers.